What's up, YouTube? I wanted to just take a moment to show off this beauty. This is an old Teac A-6010 reel-to-reel deck. This is in really nice shape for being sold as is. So I've kind of been testing it a little bit and it seems to be mostly working, so I just want to present all the operation and stuff like that and just test a few more features on it. But anyway, this particular model has intrigued me for a long time because it is an auto reverse deck with 4 heads, but it actually has a tone you can record onto the tape to trigger the auto reverse rather than using sensing foil, which I thought was pretty cool. So I've always been wanting to get my hands on this model if I could find a clean one, and this is a really nice example. So anyhow, I've got a stash of tapes here. I think most of these just came from eBay, so I'm really not even sure what music or other recordings might be on them. But this is just a 7-inch machine. It doesn't do the 10.5-inch ones, but I got some pretty interesting reels all in one lot maybe a few months ago from eBay, so this is kind of an interesting 10-inch reel, really old school BASF, and BASF always has really cool boxes and stuff, especially these gray cases. I've always liked these. So that's cool. But anyway, I'll just try to get some tape loaded up to see if this thing plays. Well, this particular 10-inch reel doesn't have much tape on it, so it would be nice if I could load it onto a 7-inch reel, but I probably need a 10-inch machine to even do that. So, got a Sony tape here, pre-owned. It's got some music apparently on it. Got some Ampex ones. I think these are all probably used, I imagine, but I tried to get ones that seem to be in good enough shape, hopefully stored properly. I think some Ampex tapes might have sticky shed issues, or they're notorious for that, so I got a few different brands. Here's some sensing foil that fell out. I think this can actually work with either that tone recorded onto the tape or possibly still use sensing foil to reverse. And actually, when I got this thing, there were some original period accessories with it too, like this little pouch. I don't know if this was some motor for the oil, some oil for the motors, and then maybe this could be some kind of splicing tape and like a cleaning cloth of some kind. Extra line fuses, some little Allen keys, and a Teac cloth. And I found this little baggie of screws. I'm not sure where these came from. And there's this little page, maybe with some of the contents. The contents in the little accessory kit. And then these little spacer reel adjustment discs. Some Japanese on here. And there's a second one of those. And then I got the Hi-Fi Engine printout for the operating instructions. Maybe I think the service manual might also be in here too. Anyway, without taking up too much time here, I've got the rest of these. And I actually got some really nice Maxcell ones. These are really nice shiny boxes too. And they're XL professional ones. 3590B UDXL. Now the one thing with some reel-to-reel decks, depending on how early they were made, this one doesn't actually have multiple settings for the bias as far as switches on the front. So a lot of times in the owner's manual for cassette decks or reel-to-reels or any other tape-based machine, there could be recommended brands or formulations of tapes to use. So I'm not exactly sure what's recommended or suggested for this machine specifically, so I just got a handful of different brands here to just try out and see what sounds best and what seems to be most compatible with this. And I've also got a bulk tape eraser, so I can potentially just bulk erase some of these if I don't like the music already on them, or if I want to just record my own mixtapes, I can do so. But anyway, let's load something up and see what we can get out of this. So the one mechanical issue I noticed straight away with this has to do with the supply reel side. This doesn't turn freely or smoothly at all. It kind of grinds, and especially when I hit the stop button, it stops abruptly instead of smoothly stopping with the felt pads on the brake band inside that's kind of in a U shape like this. So there could be some internal issue there mechanically, but let's see what's on this tape. I don't think I've ever played these at all before because I sold a lot of my equipment, and then I just bought these tapes, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago.
To visit us because he might stay in this Virginia with his parents, you know. And it would be great to see him again.
What? This is weird. This is probably half-track mono. I'm guessing there's different things coming out of each channel.
My goodness, it's almost 3 years we didn't see him.
Paula.
You know Tom, don't you, Kenner? I'm sure you remember him. Anyhow, he's gonna come out back here to live, and he's gonna drive back from California.
I have no idea. At least it's not music, because if there was music on this, I could get a copyright hit. This was not planned. Got music out of one side and whatever language this is out of the other side. And then we can see if the reverse side plays in the opposite direction. Counter's working. Now it almost sounds blank. Or not. Let's try the reverse side. I might just end up trying to bulk erase this tape because half-track mono isn't going to play back quite right on this machine unless you manipulate the output volume levels there just independently, but I'd rather just use it in stereo as it was kind of intended. Sweet love. Alright. Let's just rewind this to the beginning, I guess. We can maybe try a test recording. See if it gets an input signal and how it sounds, and test the monitor functions. Alright, so as much as I love the early Teac equipment, some of these old reel-to-reels didn't actually have a pause control. This one doesn't appear to, but I guess that's something you can live without. At least if a tape is bulk erased, you can just hit the stop button and start it back up again if you do need to pause. So anyway, I've got one of these cables just from the iPhone to RCA, so I can just record something for testing purposes. So let's just do that now. The input from the line seems to work. I get good levels and good even levels through here. So I've got record enabled with these pressed in, I believe. Then choose a speed if we want 7.5 or 3 3/4. And thickness of the tape if you've got 1/2 mil, which I doubt this is since it's so old. Auto reverse. And then the signal record to trigger the auto reverse, which we don't need right now. And then there's just this record button. which makes it easy because on the 4010 models I've had in the past, you have to press down 2 momentary switches and then hit the forward start button, so it kind of needs 2 hands, but this I can seemingly just do it one-handed. So let's start, and we'll start playback on this.
Great job, Charlie.
So this is the source audio, and we can monitor the tape.
Her hands make a sign.
Sounds good.
She holds her face as she cries.
I don't think this is copyrighted, at least I hope not. It's a live recording.
It's fading out here all of the time.
These are just little monitor speakers.
Now we all lie. Please leave it all. We were so happy before. We could be happy evermore. Now we just stare out the door. Upstairs in the hall, the light is especially bright.
That's nice.
And the glass
It's really nice.
till she's like somebody else.
Hopefully we don't have too many dropouts.
Now we all this life.
Alright, that's pretty good for just not having done anything to this yet, but it is surprisingly clean for being sold as is. Like I said, all the lamps work. So, that's great so far. Pinch roller seems to be in good shape, like this isn't all stuck or anything. The rubber seems decent. I do have rubber renew, but doesn't necessarily need it. And also the belts are good, so that's nice too. I don't really hear any wow or flutter. Actually, we can also try comparing the speeds and fidelity between 7.5 and 3 3/4. So maybe I'll just start this back up again.
Now we just stare out the
Let me start this
Great job,
over
Charlie.
again.
Her hands make a sign. She holds her face as she cries.
There's the source.
Song started.
There's 3 3/4.
It's fading out here all of the
Definitely hear some high frequency loss. Go back to source. Switch it to 7.5.
this life. Please leave it all.
Yeah. So that's not bad. At least it's 7.5, obviously. But yeah, it's really surprising for how old this is, because it could be from the late 60s or early 70s, so at least 50 some years old probably. It's probably original electronics and stored in a dry environment and everything, because this is really nice. Like the faceplate and everything look pretty mint. I'm glad these windows here or lenses here aren't cracked or anything, and all the lamps work, so it's really nice. And also maybe it's low hours and the heads don't have hardly any wear, hopefully. I'm not sure how well it's going to record with some of the other brands of tapes. Not just brands, but types of tapes. If this is just standard tape, I don't know how this biasing and everything is going to sound when I have this high output extended range tape on here, like the Maxcell, or just other brands for that matter. Like I've got Scotch, Sony, and Ampex here. But again, some of these BASF tapes are pretty old, at least those older boxed ones are, so don't know exactly what year they date from, if they could be 60s or even 50s, but some of the boxes are pretty weathered and they smell musty. But anyhow, I hope most of these were stored properly anyway. I could possibly try a couple of these Maxcell ones. Kenny Rogers. Not a huge fan, but this one doesn't have anything written on it, so I wonder if there's anything on this. It has a nice, healthy, long leader on it. Alright, here's the Maxcell UDXL 3590B. Just curious if there's any music on this. That's got some weird, like 60 cycle hum or something. But I mean, this is pre-owned, so it's on someone else's machine. See, this might be recorded in mono. I don't... Long before that, actually, all along, I guess I felt the same way. Might be some output on this channel, so maybe somebody else's machine was like messed up or something. I don't know. Let's see what else is on this. Yeah, there's uneven levels, so I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, this is pretty poor fidelity for being a high quality tape. You know, if somebody had a crummy machine, they didn't necessarily need to spend the money on a good tape like this. But anyway, I think the second side's entirely blank, or mostly blank. But at least some of the audio seemed to sound clear. So this would probably be a good tape for recording even on this old of a machine. Alright, I'm gonna go with another copyright-free song. Had this song playing on my channel on a 7-inch record before, so let's see what happens. Source audio, tape, that's 3 3/4, that sounds great. I don't want it to overdrive the speakers. There's the source. There's the tape. Tape sounds better, I think. 7.5. Source.
Autobus, goda dnia, letale dictica, se smegna, ne zmieni se, sajoci, ima ne zaznika, za nič ne zmieni se, sajoci.
Yeah, at least on a good tape like this, I think the 3 3/4 equalization sounds better than the source audio, although this is from the phone anyway and from YouTube, so. But yeah, the 3 3/4 equalization sounds better than the input source, and then 7.5 IPS sounds even better still. Well, now I would like to figure out how this auto reverse signal works, because I'm not entirely sure. I think the manual mentions it, but I don't know exactly how it's supposed to be recorded in terms of operating the deck, making the auto reverse signal. Let's see, record a signal on the end of the tape as follows. Stop the tape at the point you want to get the auto reverse. Press in record channel left and right, selector switches. Switch on auto reverse switch. Press auto reverse signal record button. Then press play key while pressing signal record. Record. Well, I don't know if it even works while you're recording music or if the machine has to be stopped. Still sounds good though.
I never meant to call you a song. I never meant to call you a song.
Alright, now let's see if it'll do anything. These are on. Auto reverse is on. Signal record and forward play. Oh, there it is. I guess that should work then. Now we can rewind it. Still switch auto reverse on, play it back. See if the tape reverses on its own. Just keep this turned down. Try to limit the copyright matches. And we got some chipmunk prints. Sounds nice, even in chipmunk mode. I dig it. I just want to see if it'll reverse itself. Because that's a really nice feature of this particular model, is you don't see, look at that, that's great. Then you don't have to even bother breaking out your sensing foil tape. Sometimes that can be a pain, especially if you have kind of an older tape and there's a leader attached to it and then that breaks off. And then you have to reattach that and put sensing foil on it. And then you gotta get the sensing foil in a good enough spot to where there's enough tape still left on the supply reel side and all that stuff. Yeah, I have no idea what this other music is, but yeah. I think most of these tapes sound pretty good. The crappier, whatever, old tapes don't sound bad at 7.5, and the better quality tapes sound good at both speeds, which is nice. So anyway, this shouldn't need too much work so far, just the mechanical issue with this. Other than that, it seems to be working pretty well, which is surprising considering how old this thing probably is. So I definitely appreciate everyone who's watched the whole video. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Like it in comments from the good people and let me know what else you want to see for future videos. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next one.